Yu Yu Hakusho is a battle shonen anime with supernatural themes. Produced in 1992 by Studio Pierrot, it adapts Yoshihiro Togashi's manga, which remains one of his most famous works. Another one of Togashi's famous works is Hunter x Hunter, a series that improved on things YYH didn't do that well. For this review, I will mainly cover the Japanese dub. To keep spoilers light, I will try to neither mention nor show anything beyond episode 11 unless necessary. The story follows Yusuke Urameshi, a 14-year-old delinquent known for skipping class and picking fights thanks to a neglectful childhood. His life takes a sudden turn when he throws himself in front of a car to save a child, dying in the process. Even the spirit realm hadn't expected such a selfless act from him and was caught off guard, leaving no place prepared. This gives Yusuke a rare chance at revival through a trial, which he initially refuses to take, believing no one cared for him while he was alive, and hence he has no wish to return. That is, until he saw how loved he was at his own wake.
Mama, お兄ちゃんが起きたらまた来ようね。起きてる時にちゃんとありがとう言いたいな。あのお兄ちゃん、とっても面白かったんだ。そうね。
ボタン、
なんだい？
生き返るための試練ってやつ、一体どんな試練なんだ？
受けるんだろ？
うん。
よし、ついといで。
おい、どこ行くんだよ？
あの世だよ。
あの世？
そう、生き返るための試練について説明してくれるお方のとこに行くのさ。黙ってついといで。
He then meets Koenma, the son of King Enma, ruler of the spirit realm, and Yusuke's trial is explained to him. Yusuke needs to keep a spirit egg that will absorb energy from his heart, and depending on that energy it will either become a good being or an evil being that will devour his soul. But first, Yusuke needs to make sure his body isn't cremated. After a series of shenanigans like appearing in others' dreams, possession, and many hardships later, finally it is judged that Yusuke will be allowed to return to life. Of course, it's not that simple. His initial spirit egg trial is extended and now he must re-enter his body, something only possible the next day. An opportunity that will return only after 50 years, but it requires energy from the living to enter his body. After succeeding in coming back to life, Yusuke finds that he can now see demons unlike normal humans and is chosen as the spirit detective against his will. After the opening events, we follow Yusuke as he takes on missions from Koenma. These usually involve investigating threats to the human world, which often turn out to be demons he has to defeat. As the enemies grow stronger, Yusuke and his comrades rise to the challenge against all odds, forging close bonds along the way. Some plot points remain unresolved due to Togashi ending the series early for health reasons, but overall the story is solid and highly enjoyable despite being a long series containing 112 episodes. Unlike many older series, Yu Yu Hakusho has no filler episodes. Still, there are notable differences between both the manga and anime, and they bring unique things to the table. Some material was skipped, like nearly everything related to Yusuke's mother, who had a much bigger role in the manga. The anime also added new material, such as interactions between Koenma and George, who is an anime-only character. A special mention has to go to the Miyuki scene. Miyuki is the first queer character written by Togashi. She's a demon Yusuke fights against when trying to save Yukina in episode 24. In the manga, Yusuke gropes her, realizes she's trans, defeats her with a single punch, and makes a transmedicalist remark. This would have aged badly on its own, but the anime made it worse by stretching this into a 3-minute fight where Yusuke deliberately targets her privates. It's out of character for Yusuke, who never even humiliated his worst enemies this way, and a bad look for Togashi, who has since written a lot of nuanced queer characters. Thankfully, it's the only scene like this in the show and is not an important one, so you can skip it. YYH's manga is much darker than the anime. Even Yusuke himself is pretty different. In it, he was shown smoking, gambling, and drinking at the age of 14, with his mother implied to have ties with Yakuza as well. The anime softened these details but still kept it fairly mature. YYH often explores themes like redemption, morality, friendship, and the blurred lines between good and evil. Yusuke's journey isn't just about fighting stronger opponents. It's about discovering his values and protecting the people he cares about. The pacing shifts across the series but generally feels steady, neither too fast nor too slow. The Spirit Detective saga continues from episode 1 to 25. It establishes the tone, the character, and does some world building. The villains are fairly forgettable, and some high-stakes situations resolve more through luck than skill. Dark Tournament saga continues from episode 26 to 66. It's the longest and most popular arc. It's filled with exciting battles, a massive power gap between Team Urameshi and the antagonists, and the main cast had major character development as well. Chapter Black saga continues from episode 67 to 94. It's my personal favorite, not because it has the highest stakes so far, but because of territories. These are psychic powers that either amplifies a fighter's abilities or forces everyone to follow specific rules. They can be almost anything, like a territory that makes you play games until you win or lose and die. In a way, they feel like a prototype to domain expansions from Jujutsu Kaisen. These battles shift the focus from raw strength to wit and strategy. Three Kings saga continues from episode 95 to 112. It's the shortest arc with 17 episodes and is often criticized for feeling rushed. But that's because the manga itself ended prematurely. Still, it's fleshed out enough to be enjoyable. It delivers a satisfying ending, while adding to the world building and leaving room for fans to imagine answers to unresolved plot points. The series is very character-driven. If you don't connect with the main cast, it'll be hard to enjoy. Fortunately, the main cast is one of YYH's biggest strengths. Yusuke Urameshi's single mother, Atsuko, is an alcoholic who had him at 15. Having been neglected by her since then made Yusuke a resentful, violent, short-tempered, stubborn kid. But beneath those walls he has a big heart. His growth from a social outcast punk to a selfless protector is extremely satisfying to watch. Kazuma Kuwabara initially seems to be comic relief and introduced as Yusuke's wannabe rival. But as he proves himself loyal, courageous, and often the heart of the group while openly showing his emotions unlike the others, he becomes very likable. Kurama is calm, calculating, polite, and elegant. While a softie at heart, he can be cold and ruthless when push comes to shove. He's the brains of the team, excelling at analysis and strategy, and his fights are among the most creative. Hiei is cold, antisocial, and power-obsessed. But his loyalty and the subtle ways he cares for his friends add depth to his character. The villains are a mixed bag. Most serve their purpose but feel like disposable mini-bosses. However, two stand out as iconic and well-written and are almost like versions of what Yusuke could have become if he had lived through similar circumstances. For a 90s anime, the animation holds up very well, especially during major battles. The Dark Tournament features some incredibly fluid, intense fights and attention to detail. What I love the most though is the art style. There's just something about the 90s anime aesthetic. Adding to that is just a lot of unique and cool character designs throughout the series that make them easily recognizable. The soundtrack enhances the atmosphere perfectly, be it an intense battle or heartfelt moment. The opening song, Smile Bomb, stays the same throughout the show and is one of the most beloved anime songs ever, upbeat, nostalgic, and endlessly replayable, whether you listen to the Japanese or English version. The ending themes are also consistently good across all 112 episodes. I will link all of them in the description so you can check them out. I've always watched the Japanese dub since I was young, so I personally prefer it, but the English dub has a lot of localized fun. It smooths out some dialogue in ways that hit harder than the subtitles, and in fact, some of the best dub lines are nothing like the Japanese version. At the same time, those changes can shift the tone, make scenes feel unnatural, or even make characters come across differently, for better or worse. So in my opinion, there's no superior way to watch it. Just go with what you normally do, as you will end up preferring whatever you get used to. Now I will show a few random scenes from both dubs for comparison to help you decide.
Man, I sure hope they let him do it. Two kicks ass at the death match. He's never lost one of those before.
Hey, hold it. Does no weapons mean that Urameshi ain't allowed to use a spirit gun?
It wouldn't matter. His spirit power's all gone.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
Take solace. Chu has also exhausted his spirit power. Now that the fight has been reduced to hand, it will be the one with the strongest head that prevails.
There's no chance.
ナイフエッジデスマッチ 中の無敵の決闘法だ。肉弾戦に持ち込めばこっちのもんさ。
おい、裏飯のやつ肉弾戦に耐えられる力は残ってんのかよ。
そうさね、霊気は使い果たしちゃったし。
無理だ。
いや、力を使い果たしたのは中も同じ。
単純な肉弾戦になれば当人たちの精神力が試される。
なるほど。
A last-ditch effort has kept Kuwabara inside the ring, but that may not have been the wisest choice. M3 is headed his way.
Not on my watch!
Now it gets thick. While the masked fighter tussles with M1 and M2, Yusuke braces to fire his trademark spirit gun.
おっと、桑原選手、辛くも場外は免れた。しかし一学チーム攻撃を緩めない。桑原、おっと、裏目選手、レーガンの構えを突破。
Quiet, Urameshi! I'm trying to concentrate here, okay? I have to breathe in the guy's fumes. It's filled with my spirit energy.
Actually, your energy returned automatically.
Oh, well, you can never be too safe, right?
Hey, I don't know why you're still on the ground, Kuwabara. I haven't even broken a sweat.
Very funny, Urameshi. You're taking the next one.
笑いこっちゃねえ。もう少しで死ぬとこだったぜ。奴が垂れ流した霊気を少しでも取り戻さなきゃよ。
桑原君、大丈夫か？
少し休めばなんとか。
まあ何にしてもこれで2匹目をやっつけたんだからよしとしようやな。
めったく気楽に言いやがって。
Did you know in some species a child eats its mother? Let me use the forlorn hope to save the woman's life. Then I'll accept my punishment.
But why would a monster do that for a human?
I don't know. Maybe because I'm guilty. Maybe I feel like I am one of those mother-devouring creatures. I've caused her great pains. It's hard raising a child who thinks you're inferior. I feel I broke her spirit. Like maybe, in some way, I caused her disease.
Why are you telling me all this?
Maybe I just needed someone to know. Besides, I could tell that you would trust me.
それでこの暗黒鏡を使って彼女を助けたい。それさえ叶えば宝を返して俺は閻魔大王の前へ行き審判を受ける。なぜ妖怪が人間に対してそこまで？なぜかな、自分でもよくわからない。でも一つだけはっきりしていることがある。俺は彼女にとっても世話になった。俺の本性を知らないでけなげに俺を育ててくれた。彼女が病気になった時初めて思ったんだ。恩返しがしたいと。なんで俺にそんな話を？誰かに聞いてもらいたかったのかもな。それに何より君は俺を信用してくれた。
Yu Yu Hakusho is a classic for a reason. It's fun, emotional, action-packed, and even thought-provoking. The fights are memorable with some of the most iconic characters. It's not flawless. The pacing sometimes drags, the last arc can feel rushed, and one scene aged poorly. But none of that erases its impact. If you're new to older anime, it's one of the best gateways to the 90s era. It's nearly timeless. If you can commit to 112 episodes, you'll find one of the most influential and emotionally powerful battle shonen anime ever made. Overall, it's a 8.5 out of 10 for me.